I would like to talk to you today about how I went from dependent mode to a creator mode. And this has changed my whole lifestyle and allowed me to live the vision that I always had for my life. And I have been lately also using a lot of ancient spiritual teachings. I may not be able to quote them because I don't want to do them a disservice of misquoting or misrepresenting, but I want to talk about how I'm using it in my own life and how I have made it so practical that I'm able to operate from that consciousness almost daily. So, I want to make a contrast of the dependent mode and creator mode for you to start looking at your own life and also see if you are able to see the differences and how you can shift from one another. Because if you keep creating reality from a dependent mode, from a survival mode, you will keep creating more survival, right? And you probably have seen this in your own experience. Because I've seen in my own experience so often, and I was so burnt out and depressed that I decided I no longer wanted to keep doing things the way that my survival brain wanted me to do, right? So in the survival brain, there seems to be this dependency, depend and what I'm calling it a dependent mode. Like I'm taking the example of airplane mode and the non-airplane mode on our phones, right? And I'm also looking at, okay, what if we had inside of us a dependent mode and the creator mode, and we always had the both, but we just didn't realize that we had both, and we were very busy surviving that we didn't even take time to look at how our creator mode could look like. So, in the dependent mode, usually what we know is that there is the villain and there is the hero, right? And the story always goes something like me against the world or me against the system, me battling, me choosing either one bad thing or the other bad thing, me. Uh, in order to survive my life, I need to stick to the system or I need to attach myself to the system. I need to be doing things against my will so I survive, right? So these are all part of the dependent mode that we are well aware of how that plays out and how that has been playing out for a long time. In my life, I would say it is about 30 years that it's how it played out. So, in the dependent mode, it seems like there's always this either the transactional mode of doing things, right? So, meaning that I have to do this so I can get paid. I have to do this so I can get the reward. I have to do this so that I am treated fairly. In the dependent mode, beside the hero and villain and transactional mode, it is always some version of um, separation, right? So, me, this person, and other people. I was talking recently also a lot about how we tend to uh, not want to fight for justice, not want to do things at the best thing that we could have done because we believe the system is rigged, right? So all of this in the dependent mode. Now, dependent mode always assumes that there is always scarcity, there is always lack, there is always something missing, something is not there, and we need to all do something to get there. This is the dependent mode looks like. And because we have practiced it so much that we are aware of how familiar that is, and like so familiar that even we're willing to rather suffer and keep staying in that mode, even though that may not be serving us, right? And I was also talking about yesterday in my post about how my brain wants to always use something or someone as a reason, as an excuse as to why I can't live the life I want to, and therefore stay in that suffering mode. Now, on the other hand, in the creator mode, and I believe we all have that, and most importantly, these are the spiritual teachings from so many thousands of years that I'm so surprised that I haven't even gotten to learning and getting deep into them for a long time. But I have been doing that recently, and my way of doing this was looking at okay, how are the quantum physics realities are looking like, or how or what are the possibilities of creating realities that way? What are the possibilities of creating reality of living and experiencing a life from the ancient teachings? And most importantly, how am I applying it into my own life, right? And this is what I'm realizing more and more is that in the creator mode, there are several assumptions that I love to make, and that these are the teachings of the ancient philosophies and the assumptions. Now we can go into like whether those assumptions are true or not, but the beautiful thing that I find is whatever I assume to be true, that becomes my reality, right? And I have seen this over and over again in my own life, that this is just how I have been experiencing life. So to be giving you example, at some point I used to believe that the only way to survive and feel secure and safe is by being part of the system. And then I realized as long as I keep making system responsible for my safety and security, I will never feel safe and secure outside of the system. Therefore, my addiction to the system will continue, right? So then I realized, okay, what if I was in charge of my safety and security and stability? Then how would I live my life? And that's when I decided to quit the system, the UN, and then live my own life, right? And there are numerous other examples of how I have decided this is no longer true in my life. Instead, this is true in my life. And then I started following, making decisions, and started living it. And then it became true in my life. So these assumptions that I have heard about the creator mode that have been so useful to my own life is one is that everything that I desire and I want to experience already exists in the world, right? So the quantum physics multi verse theory. And I want to, whatever, whether it's a theory or experiment, I want to live it in my own life and see and experience how it's going in my own life, right? So if the theory of multiverse is true and everything that I want to experience in this lifetime already exists, then my job as a creator is to um, command it, to declare it, and to feel into it, lean into it, see myself being that person already, and then see myself living that reality already. And that's what I'm doing. Right. So therefore, creator mode is no longer choosing between are you going to be a villain or hero? Are you going to be surviving and telling everyone how you survived this thing and that thing, poor you, and now here you are and how great you are? That's not the creator mode at all. And I'm happy that that's the case. Instead, the creator mode is I am so powerful inside. I have such God powers, and maybe not the God from the religious standpoint, but from the spiritual standpoint, God creator, however the way we want to call it. I have such powers that I don't need to be choosing one or the other. I don't need to be staying in the battle of me versus them. I don't need to be in the dualism, but rather I can be in the I am experiencing it all. I cannot help myself but to experience things in the most abundant, vast, beautiful, joyful way ever possible, right? The other assumption in the creator mode that I love is that there is no separation, meaning that you are you and you are the other person that you meet. That person is also you, right? Whoever you meet in the system, that person is also you. Whoever you meet in daily interactions or maybe in your business, that person is also you. And if everyone is you and there is no separation, right? So we're going by the entanglement theory of the quantum physics. If everyone is you, every nature, plant, everything is you, and there is no separation, then they all become like the giant mirrors that keep showing you how you're being reflected to you. And I love this part of the assumption as well, because then it is again no longer um, I need to convince them to be doing something with me if I'm having sales call. Instead, I'm acting as this person in front of me is sitting as me, and I want great things for myself. Therefore, this person's me, and I want great things for that person. And I will be looking out for what's in the best interest of the other person or the other person who's reflected to me as me, right? And the same goes for if someone is triggering me, right? If someone is triggering me and saying that, I don't know, they said something and I interpret it to mean they think I'm not intelligent enough, they think I'm not whatever, and then I am triggered, then instead of being mad at the other person because the other person's me reflecting what's going on inside my consciousness, and my job then is, oh, first, thank you for reflecting back to me what's going on inside my consciousness. So kind of you. Maybe you could have phrased it in a way that didn't trigger me, but here we are. And trigger is also a great way for me to immediately notice, oh, this is going on inside me. And let me solve it. And one of the ways I would solve it is, okay, why am I believing that I'm XYZ? And I'm not this and I'm not enough and all of this, because me being triggered is the indication of me not believing that I'm not this person, I'm not that person. And instead, okay, how do I go and believe this? Or how do I really start looking at, okay, why am I seeing myself in that lack? Why am I seeing myself in that powerless position? And how do I get to back to being in the creator mode? So the creator mode is in the beginning, when I started experimenting more with it, was last year in October. Well, September, October, I think, when my mom was very sick, and I was, I think, hoping for some magic, especially for my mom, right? And I was trying a lot of different ways to not only support her, but also um, create magic, I guess. And while the magic didn't happen with my mom, she passed away anyway. I still kept a lot of these practices of, okay, if I'm already so powerful and I'm capable of experiencing whatever I desire, and my mind is not um, able to comprehend it because my mind will always want to go to, okay, I need to see evidence so to believe that this is true, right? I need to go and prove to everyone that I'm smart. And then if everyone says I'm smart, then I'm smart, or whatever the mind will continue sabotaging me, but also continue limiting me, right? Because the mind's construct is based on the past. And as long as we keep listening to the mind, we will continue recreating the past in a different version. And then when I start realizing this, I was also realizing, okay, if I want to be in the creator mode most of the time, as much as I can, then I don't need to listen to mind anymore. I also don't need to listen to interpretation of my mind of what's going on in the world, what's going on in terms of the recession, or what's going on in terms of financial turmoil, or what's going on in terms of whatever the struggles that my mind might be seeing and saying, okay, this is the reason why you can't live the life you want to and support the people that you want to, right? So that's what my mind does. And I think everyone's mind is so geared toward it. So it took me some time to realize that my mind is not me, meaning my soul and my higher powers of who I am is not consistent of my mind only. So if I'm not really listening to my mind inside, right, then who am I listening to? And here is how I'm picturing it and visualizing it. I'm visualizing it as vast consciousness that is inside me, but also that's outside me, that's connected to everyone else, everything else, right? As I said. And if I'm really connected and that powerful in pursuing the desires that I want to experience, or even choosing, or even experiencing, maybe not even choosing, experiencing the realities that I want to, where I support thousands of people to transform their lives, where I make $1 million or more impact as a result of it, where I then donate as much as possible to causes that I really want to be part of. All of this is coming from that higher consciousness of this is the life I want to experience. This is the life through my lived experience that I want to uh, see. And in order to see that, my assumption then is it is already here, it is already part of my life, and I'm experiencing it. I'm experiencing it every day. I'm experiencing it in every day in so many different ways. And that helped me to feel so much of the freedom inside, so much abundance, so much expansion, so much of things changing very fast. Um, so much so that I don't really like it used to be before as to, oh my God, I have to do this thing in order to get this thing, or I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing this. And I talked about this in so many ways in this podcast as well, right? But now the more I'm able to stay in the creator mode, the more I don't care about those minor things, or I don't really even care about whether I'm doing it enough or not, whether I'm waking up at a particular hour or not, whether I'm sleeping in the afternoon or not. I'm more focused on this is how I want to genuinely express my service to others because I see them as me. And because I see everyone else as me, I really want them to experience what I'm experiencing, and we can experience this together. And therefore, this is how my creator mode looks like in practice. I wake up and I do some meditation. And then once I get my emotional state more or less very grounded and flowing, then I start thinking about all the possible solutions to my people's problems that they might be struggling. And I keep presenting them this way and that way. And again, if they want to then come and work with me, amazing. I love it. If they want to do it on their own, amazing. I love it. If they find other people to do this with, amazing. I love it. right? So it almost feels like I can't help myself but to express all of these powers of serving, of all of these powers of supporting others, knowing that there is no other way but being this way. Right? So doing all of this not because I'm expecting for the reward in the end or because I want to be seen as a good person or because I want to be seen as a moral person or any of those. I feel currently so much of these emotions coming out of me doing this because this is how creator mode looks like. This is how a creator mode of I can't help myself but be this way, right? No matter what the outcome is. And I'm enjoying being in this state and I'm enjoying living this state. I'm feeling finally like I'm living my vision. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to and working with amazing people and also supporting them in the best way possible because they are me and I like me. And I want everyone to be experiencing this creator mode where the battles are no longer there, where the heroes and villains no longer there, where it is no longer because of this I can't do this and because of that because I'm recognizing how powerful our creator force and source is, that it's not subject to any of the limitations on Earth. It's not subject to any of the limitations of the system. It could trump the system anytime and instead express itself in ways that I'm just so in admiration. And I have found that source inside me, and I can feel it, accept it, experience it so much. And the phases of going through this was in the beginning, it was so much on what my mind was like, okay, this is possible and this is obviously not possible. And how could you? How could you not? Are you in this mode? Are you not in this mode? All of these things. And I think that's very normal. And then at some point, you start looking at, okay, if you're really that powerful as God, and you are able to create, or not even create, but access and experience whatever you desire, and that already exists, then what are you really doing listening to your mind? What are you really doing listening to the past recordings of what was happening? Right? Because mind, I feel like an archive place, storage place, where all the past events are recorded and our reactions to those past events are recorded. So if I'm not really wanting to listen or keep listening to the same recording over and over again, then I better start experiencing how this creator mode looks like and how I want to experience this in the fullest way possible and not sweat about all the worries and problems that I kept having when I was in the dependent mode. So if I remove all the dependencies of the villain and the system, and here is the reason why, and that's the reason why, and if I remove all of that and I say, none of them matter, I am in charge of creating or experiencing life in whichever way possible and being in service of other humans in the way that I choose to and making the impact in the best way possible. And let me go and experience it. Let me go be that person. Let me express me as that person. And then let the reality show up the way that it does. That's what I'm doing. Okay, my dears, have a beautiful week. If you could resonate with this, I trust that you are ready to come to my world and do this together. And I will be more than happy to support you in your own journey and getting to experience your own creator mode. Have a beautiful weekend.